welcome to the last sketchbook tour for the final project. I decided to do a still life for this, so I chose a reference photo at first, one that was really dark, because I wanted a lot of contrast. I liked that it was a darker piece, but it had some lighter areas like these candles and the highlights from the glass. So I first started out by doing a lot of measuring here, placing things, how low they needed to be, how wide they needed to be, especially with the crystal ball and its stand, because this is, I believe, the first time I've drawn anything spherical or circular without tracing a cup or something else to get a perfect circle. So I did that to the best of my abilities, by drawing a square around it and then just like continuing to try and make it as circular as possible, and then also trying to get this symmetrical as possible so it didn't look wonky. After I had everything, just a little line sketch out of everything, I started going in more with the details, like where the highlights were. I would draw, say for this highlight, I would draw a little rectangle here and just leave it unfilled in, so it was still a line drawing. After I was done drawing out all the details and with just lines, mind you, no shading at this point, I started to go in with the background and actually shading it. And while doing so, I made sure to kind of leave some areas over here from where the smoke was flowing. So I tried to be mindful of not just filling it all in because there was smoke here. And while drawing the smoke, I had to make sure to be very light with my pencil, make sure I was following the direction that the smoke was going. So it's going up the page, it's going this way. Because smoke is obviously not a solid, it's a gas, and it's very organic, so I wanted to make sure it looked light and like it wasn't a solid on the page. After I did that, I went on to the crystal ball itself, filling in all the darkest parts and then the medium halftones, and then onto the lighter parts until I got to the highlights. And when I got to the highlights, I had definitely smeared a little bit of graphite on them on accident. Well, for a couple. But I left them that way for a little bit. And I went on to the holder where I had used about a 6B, 4B pencils on it to fill everything in, leave the highlights out. And once again, if I'd made a mess on anything, I could clean it back up with a pointed eraser. And at the end, when I was done just shading everything in, my last step was to take a kneaded eraser, go around the flames here, and pick up some of the pencil around it so it would look like the area around it was being illuminated. And that is how I finished this piece. Thank you for watching.